Welcome to part 1 of this 2-part vlog of our journey into the orange and white light box, Eventbrite. We were welcomed by some very friendly people and they even gave us tea because they heard that the English were coming, which I approved of very, very strongly. We met two very notable people while we were at the offices, the first being Mitch, who has been at the company for 5 years, and the other one being the CEO of this billion-dollar unicorn, Kevin Hartz. In this part we're going to be exploring Mitch's journey. So how did he figure out what career path to take when he came out of the university? It was a really big question on our minds, it may be a question on your mind. And then in part 2 we explore the wisdom of Kevin Hartz and what he has to say about going about building this billion-dollar company and how to keep people engaged and motivated to want to keep working at your company. For context, Eventbrite is the website you probably recognise from when you're booking into an event, as they help event organisers distribute and advertise the things that they're organising. Now they're being used by thousands of event organisers all over the world, and there from the early days was Mitch. Mitch is this very laid-back, well-thought-through fellow who was looking for something more meaningful and engaging to do with his life when he then stumbled across Eventbrite. For some context, Mitch started off his job at Ernst & Young as an IT consultant, and then after 6 months he quit. There are two camps that formed during our trip. The first camp was, I'm going to join a big company when I grow up. The second camp was, nope, I'm going to join a startup when I grow up. Well, Mitch started off in the big company, and he became subservient to the motions of the day. The 9-to-5 monotony of knowing when lunch was no longer engaging enough or fulfilling enough for Mitch because, well, promotions weren't as easy within these very big companies. They don't really promote based on merit, but how long you've been at the company. And this ended up building up, such that he was dreading going in on Monday mornings. So instead of keeping the security, the comfortable salary, and dealing with this monotony, Mitch quit. And he asked a friend, where shall I go? And his friend said, Eventbrite. His first task, which was not glamorous, was to cold call event organisers to get them to sign up to Eventbrite's service. If anyone's done cold calling, you will know you need pretty thick skin to do this, as it's not that fun because most people will just say no. Clearly, whatever it is that Mitch found fulfilling in a job, he found at Eventbrite because he moved from cold calling then to marketing, and now he's in product management, which is very, very cool. I also commend a company that is able to facilitate any lateral moves that their employees want to make, so well done there, Eventbrite. We probed into what it was that he actually found fulfilling at Eventbrite, and it came down to 3 things. The first thing was autonomy, the second thing was ownership over projects, and ice cream vans. The third thing was working with exceptionally talented people to contribute to the company's success, and actually seeing the success happen after you've launched the project you were working on. Taking off these rose-tinted spectacles, there is a trade-off to having these 3 things, and that is chaos. Startups are the epitome of chaos. If you've yet to be in one, you have very little structure to your day, you're the one that has to decide what is the priority, the overall company's strategic focus will change daily, maybe weekly, if you're lucky. If this makes you feel too uncomfortable, that is perfectly fair. It's better to know yourself than to chase after the cool thing. If that's not what you find engaging, or a place where you think you can flourish, then don't go for it. If you're questioning though, whether or not that is the place for you, find a startup you like the look of, get an internship, and see if it's a flavour you like the taste of. Personally, I love the taste. Chaos keeps me interested, and I love being able to work with other people who are motivated to build something valuable, and you can tangibly see almost all the time the fruits of your labour and how that impacts on the wider success of the company and the mission that you have. So Mitch was great at showing us the differences between a big company and a small company, but how do you actually choose which company to join at the beginning? Disclaimer, I really liked Mitch's answer. He said you need to ask yourself one question. Where do you think you're going to learn the most? What is in your brain is the most valuable thing you can bring to an employer, in fact, to anyone that you meet in life. If you have a breadth and depth of experience, this will colour all of your intelligence and knowledge that you can bring to the people that you're interacting with. If you're able to sharpen your mind on as many whetstones as possible with as many different experiences, you're going to be an absolutely invaluable asset to the people that you come in contact with. Plus, and this is what I think, when you're young, it's incredibly unlikely that you have any bills to pay, any real responsibilities. You probably don't have kids, so you can afford to take risks. And if the risks don't work out, you always have the safety net of going to a big company later on. A broader point I would like to make that adds to what Mitch has said is that our economic landscape is changing at an incredibly rapid pace at the moment. The job that I am doing now didn't exist when I started university. In fact, the company was just about being formed when I joined university. That's crazy! How can I be doing a job now if I didn't even know it was going to exist? How could I even plan for that? The thing is, you can't really plan for that. You just need to prove that you are an agile learner and you're able to survive whatever the world throws at you. Which means that being an expert at inputting data onto an Excel spreadsheet probably is not the best skill set you can be developing. But by saying this, Mitch has just thrown another spanner in the works, because how do you know where you're going to learn the most? And the answer is, it's not necessarily at a startup. If you want to become an expert at, say, machine learning, then joining a startup versus joining a very big company like, say, Facebook, well, Facebook has over $100 billion valuation, which means in terms of resources to help you grow and learn as much as possible, probably going to be going to Facebook. The questions you want to ask yourself are, is this job going to surround me with the best people possible to help me grow into the best version of myself? The other thing to ask yourself is this happening in the shortest amount of time feasible? But don't fret, because you can course correct. If you're sailing on a boat and you're more on an island, and it turns out that that island isn't the paradise you thought it was, you can always set sail again to a place where the coconut water tastes fresher. Eventually you're going to find a place that resonates with you. Likely it's going to be you're working with people that you really connect with, on projects that you think are incredibly worthwhile, and upon reflection you realise that every single day you're growing. And on that note, we're wrapping up part 1. Part 2 is coming out really soon, so be sure to subscribe if you would like to hear about the advice from Kevin Hartz, the billion-dollar CEO of Eventbrite. Also, what do you think makes an ideal job? Do you agree with what Mitch and I have said in this video, or do you think something completely differently would make for the perfect work situation? Leave your thought down in the comment, and until next time,